to be done to make the country safer? Because that is the major thing that is scaring people out, is security.
On the Profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the National President of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria. He brought us up to speed on activities that is happening in the civil service sector, while also emphasizing on the need for the federal government to redeem its promise towards ensuring that wage award is paid to workers. I seem to still be saying Happy New Year in February.
Well, first meeting in a year is Happy New Year.
So, Happy New Year to you, sir.
And same to you.
It's nice
we are
seeing
meeting
you
for the first
yeah,
time. So,
and it's nice seeing you once again.
Nice seeing you too.
A lot has been happening in the world of work, and you represent workers in the public sector. And there's been this complaint as regards delay in the payment of salary. I think it's been happening since November, December. I don't know if you have anything to say about this development.
Well, let me say that salary is the right of any worker. The salary is the right of any worker. And as we speak today is
February.
6th of February, thank you. We receive a lot of complaints from our members that they have not been paid their salary, which is not good enough. Not good for the worker, not good for the economy. The reason being that it is when the workers are paid that the informal economy strive. Because when they are paid, the bank will also have money to spread around, then the informal economy will also boom. But it looks as if the economy is stagnated because of this. I feel that the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy should be blamed because he understands the enormity of workers not paid salary. And come to think of it, what excuse do government have not to do that? They have removed the first subsidy, the organized labor, abide by that. The workers abide by that. Then to pay the workers' salary becomes a problem. It shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. I think the government needs, to retrench from delayed in payment of salary because it's a recipe for industrial arrest.
Still talking about payment of salaries or wage award, the federal government announced wage award. How has the payment been? Is it also being delayed like the regular salary?
It's a tall dream. These are issues that government shouldn't toy with. For one, if the organized labor did not accept the removal of fresh subsidy, it would have been a different ballgame. But they accepted and entered into negotiation with the government and agreed, not under duress, to pay 35,000 wage award. But as I speak, they have only successfully paid September and October. It therefore means that November, December, January, and this is February, is still outstanding. What are we saying? Is government really walking the talk? No. It's one thing to say something, another thing is to act and do it. So the workers are not just complaining, they are bitter. They are bitter about it. And it is not good for a government that want to win the confidence of the workers. I think Mr. President needs to also ensure that those of his managers of the economy live up to expectation, because there is no moral or legal justification that you enter into agreement. I remember Mr. President saying that whatever he said he will do, he's going to do it. So what is holding on? The transportation is skyrocket. The cost of living is imaginable skyrocket. I mean, how do you expect workers to even go to work? no salary, no payment of wage award, nothing.
So what's been the feedback at the state level? We know at the federal level this is a challenge. What are your members at the state level? What's the response?
At the state level, I lack the adjective to describe what is going on today at the state level. If at federal level, the workers are, behaving the way it is, and they are being tormented, is it the states that look on to federal government? It is a story state, and we feel that both federal and state government, they should live up to the expectation of the masses.
Last week, the federal government inaugurated the committee to set up a new national minimum wage. I wouldn't know what the timeline will be. What should Nigerians be expecting? You're one of the members of this committee. What is your message to your members?
We are trying to come up with a work plan, to look at the time frame and to look at what will be expected. But I can say in summary that the new national minimum wage will be based on the economic realities and the cost of living. So taking that into cognizance, it therefore means that the committee will do a thorough job not to disappoint Nigerian workers and Nigerians as a whole. And I think government will also look at it from our own point of view, because we are like what you can call, the gatekeepers. We are closer to the people, we are closer to the workers. If we are not a worker, we will therefore have people at home that, also carry along. So basically, Nigeria will not be disappointed, because when you look at the capacity of the chairman and also the capacity of the secretary, you listen, because these are gentlemen in their own regards that understand how things work. I think Nigerian workers will smile at the end of it. But I also want to say this: let government be sincere and come with open hands. Is give and take, and that is a collective bargaining, so that they will not be rigid to unnecessarily delay the process. For us, organized worker, we are organized labor. We are coming with our position. We are looking and defending our position. And if government come with their position and also see how we can cross-fertilize the idea with with organized labor, I think it will not be an effort in fertility.
Is there a particular minimum of cost that Nigerians should be expecting? I know that there was a time that Labour was saying 200,000 naira. Now it's out there that it's 400,000 that should be the minimum.
We've never said 400,000. Then when we were talking 200,000, you look at, there was nothing like what is happening now. Petrol as at that time was still under 400, and now is 660. Then the foreign exchange as at that time was about 700. The inflation was below 18%, but it's now 29%. So when you put all these, and the cup of Gary as at that time was 200 naira. So the cup of Gary now is about 500 naira. So by the time you put that into consideration, put a loaf of bread that is about 150 naira now. 1,500 naira, and put even Indomie. So when you put aggregate of this together, the transportation costs, the housing rent, the cost of building material now, putting aggregate of this, that will be a determinant of what we put on the table as a minimum wage. And I know government will consider it because they are also involved.
The International Labour Organization announced that there will be a rise in unemployment globally. How should the Nigerian government be reacting to these developments? And what has it been in the civil service in terms of employment of workers, owing to the fact that we've had a lot of people actually exit the system?
One funny aspect of it is that whenever there's issue on, unemployment, unemployment rate and so on, the labor market is some people will say that is not true. But let me say this with all sense of responsibility. There's no day people don't retire from service, either by age, by years of service, or even death. But filling this gap has been a slow space, and that created opportunity for people who leave university with good ideas not to come in. Secondly, even those people who were engaged feel that because the pay is too small, they can no longer remain, in employment, and they apply the Jackpot syndrome. So it is incumbent on the government to fill in this gap. But because bureaucracy have taken the turn, they have to do it, due process has to follow, and so on. That alone becomes a process. But we feel that government should open this space. They should look at the National Directorate of Employment, because among agencies of government that the military handed over to the civilian administration, I can tell you that the National Directorate of Employment have a structure all over the state that can build capacity and also improve upon by establishing finishing school, which will give Nigerian an edge and make a lot of young school leavers employers of labor. You know, instead of going into the window of borrowing money and then talk about conditional cash transfer, which they have discovered. That is all the rules. That will address the issue of unemployment. Because if care is not taken, in 2024 that we are now, is going to be catastrophic. And there should also be a rethink about the National Youth Service Scheme. If it is not been working for many decades, government should have to redefine and then redirect this scheme. We can, all members, I said it with all emphasis, all members of the scheme can go into mass agriculture. But one thing they need to check is insecurity.
Yeah, that moves us to insecurity.
Yes.
Insecurity in the country, we've heard a lot of people being kidnapped, paying huge sum of money that people do not really have. We've even seen some people actually contribute, raise funds just to ensure that a particular person or their loved one is being rescued. Has there been any instance or reports that workers have been kidnapped?
Is uncountable, because if you are not infected, you will be affected. If you are not affected, you will be infected. Because one, a worker is responsible to family members. It therefore means that if a family member is kidnapped today, they look onto the worker, not minding whether he has the money or not, because of African context of big brother or be a brother's keeper. So it is a concern. All what the security architecture are doing are just try and error. They have not been able to scope and apply the intelligence of their expertise to ensure that these kidnapping are need before. How will you be reactive? Every time until they catch people, kidnap people, then they will be running around to go to forest and comb. No. What is the extent of name number? What is the extent of registering your phone number? You can sit down and track the conversation anywhere. These people are not just sitting down and planning, they are calling networking. So if you cannot track conversation, why are you there? Why are we paying you for security of life and property? And nothing is done by that. Today they have moved from the north, they are now in the west, in the east, everywhere. So the country is already submerged by these people. And they made it. I say this, they made it a very lucrative business. I think that the managers of our fiscal policy and monetary policy should think a way out. Once that is addressed, this insecurity, even those who are in the service manipulating those outside to act as if they are angels. Police then used to have what they call mark money. What happened? That they cannot mark money and give to these people? And when you are reporting this crime to security agencies, they are the people that will say, well, you people have to go and do something. Why? Do something like what? I think they need to think scientifically how to address this issue. Otherwise, there's no basis of being in government. And there's no government without security of life and property. There's no government. So government need to know. And if by peradventure, whoever is in charge is not doing well, Mr. President has the powers. He can hire and he can fire.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sheron Ijasan. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.
Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia, January 15, 1929. The son of a Baptist minister, King received a doctorate degree in theology and in 1955 helped organize the first major protest of the African American civil rights movement, the successful Montgomery bus boycott. King participated in and led marches for the right to vote, desegregation, labor rights, and other civil rights. He advocated civil disobedience and non-violent opposition against segregation in the South, influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. The peaceful protests he led throughout the American South were often met with violence. Nonetheless, Dr. King and his supporters were persistent and the movement gained momentum. Dr. King was a powerful orator. He appealed to Christian and American ideals and won growing support from the federal government and Northern White. In 1963, Bayard Rustin and A. Philip Randolph led the massive march on Washington for jobs and freedom. The event's grand finale was King's famous I Have a Dream speech. 250,000 people gathered outside